Okay, so I talked about the three classes of indexing. Let me start with the three-axis class of indexing. We have two types of indexing there. Actually, we have three types. Well, the main ones are the XY indexing, where you're actually indexing the toolpath in X and Y direction. And then you also have polar instancing, where you're actually doing some sort of rotary indexing about a certain point, about a point. You're rotating about a point in an axis, which is typically the Z-axis in a three-axis world, and locating the toolpaths in multiple angles, if you will. And then the next one is fixture offset programming. Next slide, please.
So what I got here is I've got the polar instancing example part. So this is the part that you saw on the slide. And basically, as far as the machine goes, this is, it's just a standard three-axis setup. You don't need to do anything special to do polar or, XY or polar instancing.
And Don, I just wanted to jump in very quickly. There was a question. So, yeah, as far as we talked about the three classes of indexing, the three-axis, the 4, and the 5. So for the three-axis, you get that in the standard configuration. We don't have to do anything separate. For the 4-axis, obviously, you need to get the expert configuration. And the 3+2 is a separate module. It's actually the Pro. You have to get the Pro configuration for that. So just a quick note there. Thanks, Don.
Okay. So what we got here is the part is completely programmed and one instance is programmed. So let's just look at that real quick. Let's turn the toolpaths on. So we got our common programs at the top. And then we start from here down is all the programs we need to make one instance. And I'll just show you those real quick. So we got roughing, we got profiling, we got another horizontal roughing, another horizontal finishing, another roughing, all of the programs that you need to completely finish one instance. Okay, so now in order to create the polar instance, it's real easy. You just go up here to the tools and utilities and you select XY instancing. You can do polar with using the same icon. So what we're going to do here, instead of an XY on this part, we're going to do a polar instance, and we're going to leave the rotate about 0, 0, 0, since our part is oriented at 0, 0, 0. And the angle to fill is going to be 360 degrees, so we want it to go all the way around the part. And we want the number of copies. Now this is the number of copies, not including the one that you've already programmed. So we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional copies. So you just generate that and it creates a folder in your machining job called XY instance. Okay, even though it says XY, it does polar and XY. So now all you need to do is just move your operations that you want to instance. We're just going to select them all. And we're just going to grab them. This is a left click, and we're going to drop them in this folder. Okay, so now you've got, if you select your XY instance, you'll see that all of your operations are programmed for each polar instance of this these features right here. So you don't need to do anything special. You don't need to reprogram or recreate a work zero or move anything. You just create your XY instance folder, drop your operations in there, and you're all set to go. And as far as posting, let's post this out real quick. You'll see if we do a search for instance. You'll see your XY instance number 1, and everything for number 1 is under there. And if you just keep going, you'll see your instance for number 2. And these are all comments, by the way. There's nothing special that you need to do differently in the G code. It's outputting all of the XYZ coordinates required in each of the orientations, or each of the instances. So there's instance 3, instance 4, instance 5, and actually instance 6. The first one is instance 1, the one you already programmed.
So, Don,
ahead.
we got to show the XY instancing on this.
Let's go ahead and delete these. So basically for the XY instancing, you just, similar to the polar, we're going to select the XY instancing icon. We're going to do a linear, and we're going to offset it 7.5 and 7.5. So basically we're creating a array, 7.5 in the X, 7.5 in the Y. We're going to make one copy each. And we're going to generate that. So that's your XY instance, and let's go ahead and move these operations.